Joining us tonight is Tom Fitton, the president of Judicial Watch. And Tom, I want to begin by asking you for your reaction to Boente's forced resignation.
Well, it's a little bit of accountability. He was involved, had signed one of the fraudulent FISA warrants targeting President Trump through Carter Page, of course. And reportedly, he was part of the cabal in the FBI that was objecting to releasing the smoking gun information to the Flynn defense team, showing the FBI and Justice Department, led initially by President Obama, it's clear, framed him. Look, you know, the report is that he was fired by DOJ, not by Mr. Wray. So this is a dramatic show of no confidence in the directorship of the current FBI director, Mr. Wray.
Yeah, and he is at the very least a member in horrible standing, in point of fact, of a horrible group that some refer to as the cabal, led by, or at least amongst its top representatives, none other than James Comey, the director of the FBI. It is, as you say, encouraging that he has been sent on his way. His accountability is yet to be determined. Speaking of accountability, district court judges famously don't have much. Emmet Sullivan is behaving as a man who has decided he can take leave of his senses as well as law and the Constitution and do as he damn well pleases, no matter how much pain he causes an innocent man, in this case, General Michael Flynn. Your reaction to the Sullivan response to the D.C. Appellate Court?
Well, I read it quickly. His lawyer, Beth Wilkinson, who is also, by the way, defending free of charge Hillary Clinton's top aide, Cheryl Mills, from having to testify to Judicial Watch, just a side note. But she's throwing up a lot of chaff to distract from the fundamental point that the judge is engaged in unprecedented judicial adventurism targeting General Flynn. And I don't see much in that brief at all in terms of any concern about the evident prosecutorial misconduct that Judge Sullivan used to be concerned about and has always highlighted from the bench his concerns about it in terms of what's been uncovered recently about what would happen to General Flynn. I see a judge who doesn't want to protect General Flynn. I see a judge who wants to go after him. And that's not what the judge, you know, that may be his personal view, but as a judge, he's supposed to be protecting the defendant who has the presumption of innocence right now. You don't get that feeling from Judge Sullivan.
Yeah, Judge Sullivan is not a judge in any way, in my sense of what the word would mean, and certainly would not be representative of the ideals of the Constitution or the judiciary. Let's and it's amazing to watch a man forfeit his reputation, everything that he has been on the court for, with some reasonable career over the course of the last decades. Let's turn to another big event, and that would be the testimony of Hillary Clinton, Cheryl Mills, her chief of staff. Will it go ahead as planned?
Well, we don't know. There's a hearing tomorrow. She filed also a writ of mandamus. She was ordered to testify, and she filed an emergency writ saying she was too important to testify. There's nothing else that can be learned from her testimony. A federal court judge has disagreed and wants to know whether her use of emails was designed to thwart FOIA. And unfortunately, the State Department had been defending her. But even now, though, the Justice Department abandoned her. And this is interesting. They said they didn't agree with her appeal, but didn't want to argue before the court. And the court said, you're arguing. So even when they're helping us in terms of defending the rule of law, the Justice Department is still trying to hide. We'll see what happens with Hillary Clinton tomorrow. But as like I said, Beth Wilkinson is representing her top aide, Cheryl Mills, free of charge. And she had represented many of those witnesses as well during the Emailgate scandal.
Astounding. Your sense as to why the Justice Department would not be doing, once again, what seems to be an obvious and right thing to do?
Well, they did not want Mrs. Clinton to be deposed to begin with. They wanted to shut us down, but they lost. And then Mrs. Clinton made this dramatic appeal, and they said They didn't want to do that, and they disagreed that she didn't have the right to seek protection from the court. After all, she's a government official who's been out of office for years, and there's no emergency to stop her from having to testify. But on the other hand, Lou, we have other litigation where the State Department has just said and told us that what Hillary Clinton did in terms of taking emails is no big deal, and we shouldn't get any more information about what happened. Look, the deep state is still running the show and still protecting Hillary Clinton. By the way, the statute of limitations on all of this hasn't run yet. There's a good reason for the stall tactics.
As usual, the swamp has an awful stench, doesn't it? Tom Fitton, thanks for being with us. We appreciate it. You and everything you and your group do.